Right, hello, lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today we have more transfer talk, players to go, players to come in, delving into all of that, breaking it down today. Before we go any further though, if you guys are enjoying the content, best way to help support the channel, you guys already know how it is, to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for any new viewers out there. If you want some of the best Celtic content daily out there, then click that subscribe button and click that notification bell and you shall receive. But without further ado, let's get into it. So far in this transfer window, Celtic have acquired 7 players in Dyson Maeda, Jota, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Ben Siegrist, Alexandre Bernabei, Aaron Moy and Moritz Jens. But we have also disposed of Liam Scales on loan, Osaze on loan, Barkas on loan, Montgomery on loan, Bolly Bolingoli on a permanent deal, has left the club, and also the significant departures of Tom Rogic and Nir Baton, plus many other players on the expiry of their contracts. So what can make this transfer window even better for Celtic? Because right now it has been a very hectic transfer window, but also a very great one. There's 3 weeks left. Right now, it's on the board, it's on the club, to maximise these final 3 weeks with the squad's best interests at heart, I guess, and just best interests for the squad at heart. So, let's get departures out of the way, because the way I see it right now, only departures can lead to arrivals. I don't think the board will be willing to pay the wages or sign another player without getting some off the wage list right now, because it is very packed and we are paying a lot of players a lot of money who don't deserve it and also aren't any use for Celtic either right now, right? So let's look at who, from now until the end of the window, I would like to see leave. Or it's not that I'd like to see them, well, I would, but let's say who would be at the best interests of the player and the club. I think they would have to leave Celtic. So here we go. First off, Albion Ayeti. Now, he will not get a look in. I would rather play Liel Abada at striker than Albion Ayeti. But surprisingly, the lad is still only 25. It feels like he's 29, 30 years old right now, which is crazy. But, you know, his best football's probably still ahead of him, but it isn't at Celtic by any means. Not to mention, on the wage packet, he is the 5th highest earner for Celtic on a reported £20,000 per week deal. That is a huge amount of cash the club is forking out to let him train at the club and then sit at home and on match day and do literally nothing at all to benefit the squad. So that's one player. Albion Ayeti has to go. Albion Ayeti will no longer put the ball in the netty, and it is no longer Albion Ayeti's Wonderland. Nor is he here for 10 or anything that song mentioned. Get rid of him. He's hogging the wages and he's doing absolutely nothing. That's a pretty self-explanatory one. Now, moving on, this one pains me just as much as the next person, and that is Christopher Julian. His Celtic career is over. It's the hard truth. Even though he will always be remembered as something of a cult hero. You know, his goals against Lazio, his goals against Rangers, they were some of the best goals I've seen live. Right, well, watching live on the telly, you know, but the injury, it just killed him. It just absolutely ruined his career, you know. 18 months on the sideline in his prime years. That is one of the worst. It's almost as bad as a young up-and-coming player doing his ACL, you know. It's just terrible, right? But facts are facts. He is Celtic's 3rd highest earner, earning more than Albion Ayeti per week on approximately £22,000 a week. Yet again, fees for another marquee player right there. You know, if you put him and Albion Ayeti's wages together, that is $42,000 a week we are just wasting on players who just train and sit at home on match day. It's ridiculous, right? Those fees can be put elsewhere. They could be utilised so much better for so many other players that Ange, I'm sure, has his eyes on. So those two, for me, are the main culprits and the main players we need to get rid of in these final 3 weeks. They weigh the club down financially. It's terrible. You know, Celtic aren't a club short on money by no means. You know, we're actually profiting in the upcoming few seasons, but still, we need to, if we're going to maximise our revenue, then Ayeti and Julian, it's time to go. But there are others I think also need a fresh start and life away from Glasgow, and those two are James McCarthy and Mikey Johnston. Now, they don't chew huge wages up like Christopher Jullien and Albion Ajeti. However, combined together, they are on £23,000 a week. That right there, literally, is over what Jullien's earning. So that is pretty much a marquee player's wages right there that Celtic could be paying someone more. But, you know, we're paying James McCarthy and Mikey Johnston that much money. So, look, that's 4 players right there. If we add those 4 together, that is £65,000 in wages and players who aren't, or I won't say aren't because there's the off chance they could, but almost definitely will not feature for Celtic this season. However, I don't see it realistic that we can get all 4 off permanently this window. I think it's more likely we will see Mikey Johnston go away on loan with an option to buy, maybe to James McCarthy. But for Christopher Jullien, he's in the final year of his contract. If he doesn't leave now, it will be at the end of his tenure. And Albion Ajeti, we need to somehow convince some team in the world that he is still good enough to play professional football. So that will be, I think, more of a challenge in itself than, you know, anything else here. But still, right? You guys get where I'm coming from. I'm one who thinks, I'm not the one who always thinks money is the biggest influence in football, but sometimes it should be taken into account, and in this situation that is one of them, because knowing the Celtic board, they probably won't want to pay another £23,000 a week to some player if we've still got all those guys on the wages. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in the final 3 weeks, but do expect some departures definitely, and hopefully one of those 4, because like I said earlier, it's in the best interest of the player and the club if they move on somewhere else and find a home away from Glasgow. Now, interestingly, I didn't mention Josip Juranovic on that list of players who are going to leave because he is not going anywhere. I can absolutely guarantee each and every one of you, Josip Juranovic will be a Celtic player by the end of this transfer window. If he isn't, that's a very bad look on me, but I am all for making bold predictions and bold calls, and also calls that could backfire immensely. So, if it does backfire, please forgive me, but I like making these sorts of judgments. Anyways, into arrivals. Now, we can't ask for much, right? We've already had an absolutely stellar, incredible transfer window so far. Depth. We've just improved the depth of this squad immensely. Not to mention signed permanently the best centre-back in the league and the best player in the league in Jota. And thing is, we can't be greedy, right? You know, there's got to be enough good players to go around for every club, right? As much as we love Ange bringing in every single hidden gem he knows and every diamond in the rough he knows in world football, we can't be greedy, right? We can't have, 30 plus players in the squad. But for me, I like to be greedy sometimes. And personally, I feel Celtic could best do with a winger, especially winger, or an attacking midfielder. And that's why I was so excited yesterday about the potential to sign Alex Collado. Even though that has been put to dust now and put to bed, those rumours, still, that would have been my ideal signing. But we're going to have to look elsewhere, and either one would suit me preferably. However, an attacking midfielder is really what I would probably lean towards, because I don't see Turnbull or Rayo providing adequate competition for someone like Matt O'Reilly. I think O'Reilly needs a specialty attacking midfielder there to push him to make him the best player he is, just as we saw with Bernabei coming in and as pushing Greg Taylor to be the best player Greg Taylor can be, because if he isn't, we know Bernabei will take that spot instead. So, look, if I could take any attacking mid in the world, because, I never really give my take and never really scout the players I'd like to see at Celtic. I do a couple times, but not often. If I could take any attacking midfielder to Celtic right now, it obviously would be Kevin De Bruyne. However, I think it's just a teeny, weeny little bit too much. I don't think we could afford him. You never know though, if a Saudi prince comes knocking, anything is possible. And if Barcelona can do it, I'm sure we can. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going on a tangent. And that's why the video will end, because that is all from me. So if you guys did enjoy the video, you want to help support the channel, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave in the comments below your thoughts on the rest of the transfer window. What would you like to see happen? And until next time, Hail, hail.